It has been quite some time since I've been able to sit in this thing. In the video land, it won't seem like that. But we have the floor done. Just got that finished today. Seat is back in, mounted. Yeah, there's a milk crate holding the front end up. I don't know if you can see that. So obviously you don't have the front on. Rear suspension's in, tires are in. But I want to get the floor in. Well, I had easy access. The other thing I'm going to do is I'll be mounting this brake cylinder and doing the brakes. That'll be in a separate video. But floor is done, riveted in. My son helped me get that finalized today. But we're going to show you the entire process. I'll shrink it all down because this process started 2 years ago. And wow. Okay, so we're going to give you the rundown on doing the floor. It didn't take 2 years to do it, obviously. It just sat for a long time. And just long enough to forget everything that I had done and make it work. So, you'll see that. Hope you learned something from watching it, maybe that you didn't know before. I can start assembling the front. I do want to run the brake lines before that, but this is a floor video. So, check it out. Alright, so a few days have passed, and I've thought about how I'm going to do this. And I think I have a plan, sort of. Going to trim this here so that this falls in. We aren't close yet. So I'm going to just mark this. Hopefully that gives me enough room to go straight down. So as I was thinking about how to do this perfectly, I realized that it's not going to be perfect anyway, and sometimes you just got to get stuff done. So we're going to trim this, try to get this sitting. I think the slots back here are off, but until I get this down low enough, I can't really tell. So we're going to try to get, we're just bound up on all these different points. I also went around this here. Just marking all the spots that are hitting. Long process. Alright, so we have this one almost done, cleaned off. I have a couple little marks that I made here. Take this out one more time, trim it up, but because this is in a good spot, I have this template that I started a while back, but as I'm looking at it now, I don't know if it's because this is back further, which could be because I trimmed this, but I do have to lengthen the front of this a bit because I need it to be up here, like, you know, I'd like it to be over the crest of this tube, and it's not, it'll sit inside. It doesn't really, well, it just would make it hard to secure. What I'd have to do is put tabs in here or something to be able to secure this down. So I just need it to be up here so I could rivet it or screw it in, you know. But as far as, there's not going to be any weight or anything in here. So I'm just going to, I'm going to have the support here. You know, that'll work. And then it's just going to go here, 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 a couple here. So I just want to lengthen this, you know, it looks like about 1/2 of an inch. So I will transfer this over to another piece of diamond plate that I stole off of the trailer extension ramp, and I'll get this marked off and get this cut. I'm not going to worry, you can't really see this little thing, but I'm not going to worry about having these two line up. I could cut this, well, maybe I will. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll mark this because I have, take that out. What I'm talking about here is this piece can only go here because of this. You can't curve around here. And this doesn't meet up with that, so it'll look kind of weird. But what I can do is mark this and just trim that right there because we have this piece right here supporting it. I don't have to worry about that little bit being on the center. So I'm going to look at it. Take this back again. Should be fun for the diamond plate. But I'm going to put that there. That's a good width. This is why we test fit. So I can let this go basically like that. Yeah, I just think it'll look more like we planned it that way. Sure. All right. like I said, these spinning discs are somewhat dangerous at times. So make sure I show that in the video so you know. Throwing that away because it's already cut up. I'm not going to use it again because it'll just keep fraying and flying everywhere and you lose control. So I'm going to put a new one on here and then just continue cleaning up. But glad I got that in a video for you. I wasn't going to hit record, but now you know these things can catch. And yeah, that's why plasma cutter and the bandsaw. I've got some tools that are definitely a lot more expensive, but definitely safer to use in certain, as long as you know how to use them. So gonna change this out. You have to use this to grind, but it caught something here. I'm not even sure what it caught. Maybe in the video it'll show, but maybe just the edge or something. But all right, anyway, I'll get that changed out and finish this one little part, and then go on to making the other piece. The other thing I want to mention is I am wearing this. I'm going to be completely honest with you and say when I started, I did not do that when I started grinding, because I was like, I was just going to grind it real quick and got going, just trying to get it done. And a piece of aluminum actually hit like right above my eye, a little piece, and I went, oh crap, did that go in my eye? It did not, but then I was like, idiot, put the safety stuff on. So I usually do, I did not, and just that one time that you don't, something happens. So I'll get back to, I'll just polish this off here. When I had this in place where I knew it was going to sit, I went underneath, I don't even remember if I got that, I don't think I got that on video. I went underneath with a permanent marker and mark the holes, the seat holes that are in the frame, because those are going to be a pain in the butt when I attach this to be able to crawl underneath with the drill and do it. So I just was able to get a marker in to mark those holes. These holes do not have to be perfect because they're what this is going on. Actually, I don't know if that's right. Is that right? It doesn't seem right. Oh. Yes, sorry. Because these sliders are going to be, oh, I'm sorry, it's going to be like this. This is the great fun of waiting 2 years before you do the next thing. You forget. But this is going to be on the other side. I'm just showing you here. But this is going to be what sits there, and we have to bolt through to bolt the sliders down, and the seat's going to sit on top here. So I don't need to worry about these holes being perfect by any stretch, because this is going to cover it. Like it'd be, you know, 1/4 inch off and not have a problem. So what I'm going to do, what I'm going to do is get a drill bit that's larger than these holes, because it's not going to be perfect, right? I want some play, because, you know, I don't know how it's going to line up once it gets in there. I built it, so it's probably going to be off a little bit. So I'm just going to drill out these holes. Now, as I was doing that, I realized it's not going to matter as much on the top. I still want that to be clean. I don't want to catch that and cut while I'm even putting it in, cut myself. But this diamond plate has these ridges that sit higher. That's actually what the seat support is going to sit on. So it's going to sit a little bit higher. But that is what it is. All right, that's how that's gonna go. And wow, that is really close. Will I be able to get my finger in there? I might have to bend this up more just to be able to use it. But we have the technology to do that. That's for a separate thing, but I'm pretty sure I'm gonna wanna do that. So, all right, tracing this piece out. I have it down. I know I want this to be a little bit wider on both sides. This has to be exact, so I already traced that. And part needs to be a little wider. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it in there, I'm going to be honest. No idea if I'm going to be able to get it in there with this a bit wider, but that's what I'm going to start with. And should I be using a straight edge? Sure. Am I? No. Sure, I could be measuring this, saying it needs to be a 1/4 inch wider or whatever. But so that's what I'm thinking I need. I will probably be completely wrong, and it won't fit at all. But you'll have that. Okay, let's set that up. Aluminum doesn't have as many sparks, so I'm not as worried about it. There's some of this stuff. So you know, this is me working on my perfectionism. I am not, this is going to be somewhere that you're really not going to see it. I do want it to look decent, but I don't want to spend 3 times as long making it perfect. So right now I'm just getting the edges so they don't cut me, and hopefully it fits right in. You know it's not going to, but we'll see if that works. But that's what I'm doing now. So you know, this is right. This is not straight. But yeah, it's really just going in the front in an area that your feet won't be, and it's just completing the floor in the front. And because of how I fabricated everything prior, it's got to fit in a certain way, and we'll see how it works. But that's what I'm doing. Alright, 3rd time's a charm maybe? Well, it's the 2nd piece, but I just had to trim a little bit. I think we're good. Definitely not as many ins and outs as the other one, because that was a much more complicated piece, but okay. Here, you can see how much further this comes out. This sticking up, we're just going to hit that down after we secure this thing. I made it a little bit wider. Well, it's hitting here. Shoot. I gotta fix that. I gotta fix that. So sit on this weld. Same thing on that side. And that's just because it's sitting a little bit high here. I want it down. Okay, so I'll do that. And I think this piece will be, see how it's rocking, because it's sitting here and here. So I'll make room there. And then I'll start securing this thing. Okay, so the next step in the process is to rivet this down. I'm going to use aluminum, like I mentioned, but I have an assortment, so I got to figure out which ones I want to use. I'm also showing you this. So these are aluminums, and all the different sizes. You can see large rivets, which means you have to drill a much bigger hole, and then you have tiny rivets, and you'll see how this works if you don't know. I don't want tiny rivets. So I have this assortment here. I also bought these for doing the car. Oh, the other thing to show you, as you can see, these have, small flange on them. That's what's going to actually be what holds the top in. And then what happens is this gets pulled back. And I have a hand riveting tool somewhere. I don't know where it is. Well, I do. I'm not going to use it. I don't care. But the point is, well, you know what? Let's just show you. So on this one here, I'll just use this because it's a lot faster. This is what I'm going to be using anyway. And it leaks quite a bit. Fair enough. But you put this in, you could do this with the hand river too. Oh, I have the wrong. Yeah, that's a big one. Let's get a small one. I'm going to have to change this because this hole here has to be the right size for the rivets are doing. Okay? You see, I could do this. And it goes way too fast when you do that. But you see why I have it. And what happens is it pulls this back. Now there's nothing to press against. This has to be in a hole, and what happens is you can see that that's not really how it works. But the piece gets pulled back, and when there are sides, after you drill a hole and there are sides, presses against the sides because I'll give you a bigger one so you can see. Because this piece gets pulled back this way and it mushrooms the end and spreads this out as this comes through until this piece breaks off, which is what you saw like really quickly. I'll probably slow it down for you. And that's this piece here. So it pulls it back until there's too much pressure and this breaks off. And then you're left with the rivet in the whatever area you're putting it in. So that's how it works. Hopefully I can slow it down enough that you saw it, but that's how it works. So this gets pulled back, mushrooms this out, spreads it, and makes it so it doesn't come back. The top part is what holds whatever you're securing. So if you wanted to secure better, wider flange spreads the load out more, and you could also potentially use less rivets because you have that much surface area to press down and keep it secure. Here's the other side of that. I really wanted to use these. Well, actually, probably the aluminum ones, so they match. Not that the black wouldn't match the roll cage, but oh yeah, these are actually quite a bit wider. My problem becomes when I put this here, it'll be okay because I have enough area. When I'm on these sides here, it's possible that the rivet actually sticks out over the metal on the outside, so you have like a little round tops of the rivets will show. So I am not sure if this is the way I'm going to go. I would like to use these, the bigger ones. I know I have plenty of them. I could also use these in areas that they work, and then use the smaller ones in areas that it's too tight. Hopefully that's making sense. That's why I wanted the overlap here, so I could use the rivets. So maybe that's what I do, and that's the other thing that I'm thinking with using the aluminum ones, the aluminum finish, because you won't see the difference between the rivets if I use these in certain areas to really hold it down, and then use the smaller ones in others. So that's what I'm playing with here. And here's the thing. These are a pain in the butt to get out once you put them in. So you kind of have to know what you're doing. To get them out, you have to actually drill through the hole and drill out this rivet. I really don't want to have to do that. So I'm kind of hesitant about which one I use. I mean, for the seam, I might just drill down the center of it and use these to hold down both of them. That's actually an idea. Huh. Okay. Because I have that bar there. Maybe that's what I do to secure both of those so they're doing it. So that makes sense there. That makes sense up front. I don't know if it makes sense on the sides. So I'll have to figure that out. Because this rivet should be here, and if it's here, it's going to hang over a little bit. Because ideally you want to be right on the top round of this roll cage and drill your hole. I mean, we could drill it off a little bit. It's just going to be really hard with the drill to do that. So I guess I'll get into it, and if I screw up, then you'll see my screw up too. Alright. So you need to pick a drill bit that this fits in. You know it's going to mushroom out, but you can't pick too big of one. But you want to pick one that slides in nice and easy. So I'm just kind of putting this behind it. That looks like the one I want to use. That is a pretty large hole, and that hole is going to be in the tubing. Now, here's the thing. This isn't going to change the strength of the tubing. If you put too many in or too big a hole, obviously, but these little holes throughout here, not going to affect the safety of this at all. So, all right, real quick, while my son is getting the piece that I dropped in a place that's hard to get to, I found the manual one. I want to show you this. So these are the different sizes that you would need to do it. But I'm going to show you how this works, like with a kit that you can get. They're pretty cheap. But as you squeeze, you see how that mushrooms? See how that mushrooms out? And then you do more, you go down, because maybe the thickness, the material's not that thick, so you just kind of, you go down more, you squeeze again, and it mushrooms it more this way. Go like that, and then you squeeze it more, and it mushrooms it more, and then it goes to the point where it can't go anymore, and it breaks. What happens is that piece that went flying somewhere stays, and this is the piece that comes off. So you can do this manually and squeeze like this, or you saw how fast it works with the compressed one. The drilling is going to be bad enough, so I'm not going to use this one. I'm going to use the pneumatic one, pneumatic meaning air, but wanted to show you you can get a kit like that, relatively cheap, and do the same stuff. You don't have to have the tools that I have, but I have them. Oh, there's in that kit there's a wrench looking thing. Yep. All right, we don't have a lot of time left on the camera. We're going to do a couple of these here, and then just you see the process though, and then we'll just keep going. You don't need to see all of it. You know what we're doing at this point. Rinse and repeat. For what?
Not sly.
I'm not meaning to be sly. This is proof that you know how to do stuff. Maybe I started at the wrong time. Done about 30 of these already. All right, nice. Can you imagine squeezing each one of these with that big pair of pliers to do it?